Hello and good morning. Welcome back to the regular time slot this morning. Back on track at the moment. So today I'm going to be creating a couple of cards using the Sending Smiles stamp set just for some greetings, and then focusing on the Plentiful plants and of course those lovely window dies that I just cannot put down at the moment. So if you are joining, please say hello. I'm going to check that I'm live in the right place. So just bear with me. Hopefully everything will play game today. So yeah, a bit of a juggling act today. I've got coffee and card this morning, so I just couldn't help out with the swimming lesson run. So hence I am here on time today. And I think next week, I'm not sure what's going to happen next week, because I know Vivi's on afternoons this week, or until tomorrow. Maybe it changes tomorrow. Good morning, Ellie. And I don't know what happens tomorrow. I'm not sure if she goes back to mornings and stays for lunch. I really have just lost track. So we'll have to wait and see for next week. But fingers crossed I will be here, or it just may be that I'll be here, but later in the day. So yeah, family things to juggle. So yeah, this morning I'm not doing anything Christmassy. I'm actually going to be repeating a couple of cards from one of my classes this month. Reason being, it's just been super busy. We've been away all weekend racing at Donington Park with Jay. So we've been car racing. And then of course yesterday was the Queen's funeral. So a really strange kind of day. But the whole event was just so lovely. For those of you that watched it, good morning, Ellie. How are you doing, my lovely? For those of you who watched it, I just think it just ran beautifully, didn't it? It was lovely, really lovely. The weather held out for them, and it was just all, how they orchestrate something like that is beyond me. Such a lot to kind of put together. I know it's probably been in plan for a very long time, but yeah, a very, very big momentous occasion. So hello, Kim, how are you? Okay, so I think I'm going to move you down to my desk. I don't think I've got a lot to talk about this morning as regards what is going on. We still have weekly deals. We won't get another change until Thursday, so that's the 22nd. So I've got a picture actually of what we've got on this current weekly deal offering, which is always good if you've got an order to go through, and there might be a couple of things on there that you're feeling that you need with a bit of discount. So few of you are on. Facebook is actually letting me read comments at the minute. So right, let us turn you down to the desk, and you can see what we're playing with. So bear the palm of the hand. Oh, let's move all that out of the way first. Shift everything over. Sorry, you can see my ceiling now. Oops, don't turn that the wrong way. Otherwise my phone will fall off. That wouldn't be good. So little zoom in, and we'll wait for that catch up. So yeah, lots going on. Friday we headed off. Oh, Facebook is frozen. Friday we headed off to Donington. I spent the morning with the grandchildren, and then dashed off delivering the dog and all sorts of things, doing the last minute food shop before we were going away. Packing up everything to take, even though it's just a weekend. In this country, you just never know what the weather is going to do. You can kind of gauge roughly the temperatures, so you've got to sort of take a variety of outfits for every occasion. And of course, a lot of these race circuits are built, are put up on like flat land. Donington Park is right near East Midlands Airport, and it's often breezy there, but you've got the planes going over all the time as well. So, right, I can see some more of you dropping in. Good morning, Lucy-Anne. How are you doing? Morning, Belle. You're listening while you're walking the dog, and you'll watch when you get back. I just love a bit of multitasking. Good on you. So yeah, my little man is sat under the desk and I think he's got an ear infection. He's got a really red ear and he's been doing that shaking thing, and spaniels are very prone to that. So I'm not sure whether to try bathing it. I've Googled it and you can bathe it. It says in cider vinegar and water, give it a little bathe. And oh, I've moved my grid now, and see how it goes. But I don't want to leave him too long and I don't want him to be uncomfortable. And I'm pretty sure ear infections don't go away on their own. So anyway, apart from that, all is good. So today I'm going to be using quite a few stamps from the Plentiful plants. To me, this is a really great staple bundle to have in your stash of Stampin' products because they are just so useful. Masculine products, feminine products, wedding, new home, retirement. I just think this is one that you can pull out and use on so many different occasions. Now, it's not on a bundle anymore. When it moved from a mini catalogue into the annual catalogue, it's no longer on a bundle. Stamps are £20. Photopolymer, and then of course you've got the dies here, which is super useful, and you've got standalone dies that don't actually coordinate with stamps in the set as well. So a really great bundle. Of course, as promised, I'm using the window dies. So you know I'm loving these, and of course not using them for Christmas today, just using the window elements here to just add a bit of something different, a different kind of element, different look to my cards. So I'll be using those. I am also using just one die from the Sending Smiles. I'm going to be using, I just adore this die set, it's just fabulous. But I'm going to be using these two little flowers just to complement my foliage, because this is just foliage. There are no like pretty flowers in this set, and I feel with foliage, unless it's for something kind of masculine, I always feel that we need a bit of floral in there as well to team with all the greenery. So let's start with our first card. Lots of bits and pieces. Let's just pop that to one side. So how are we all? Lucianne, you're good. I'm good, Lucianne, thank you. Just tired all the time at the minute, but you know, that's just age, I think. Age and really not resting very much and not sleeping very well either. So it's probably just a whole combination. But yeah, I am glad that you are okay. So busy day today. I've got coffee and card at the hub. So once I've finished here, I'll be grabbing myself a really quick coffee, checking that I've got everything to go, and I will be off. So right, base card of Basic White, one of my favourite base colours to use. And then I'm teaming this card just with Sahara Sand and a bit of soft suede. So this would, without any flowers on here, this would make quite a good masculine project as well. So I've got a couple of layers for my card, and then I've got some pieces to die cut for my window, and I'm going to do something a little bit different on this to what I did on my original. Those are going to be the colours of my flowers. So the only inks I'm using are Shaded Spruce and Soft Suede. Good morning, Jude, how are you? But I'm bringing in a bit of colour with those die cut flowers, and I'm using, this is just a real firm, these two together, Flirty Flamingo and Sweet Sorbet. I just love them. Love them. And I did pull out some cards actually using the Sending Smiles, again teaming the Flirty Flamingo with the Sweet Sorbet, and we've got soft seafoam here as well. So this is probably one that I did on a live, but I do have, if you head over to my website, click on the tab at the top, which I think says for sale, then click to tutorials. I have actually got a tutorial to purchase where you can make these 5 cards, and there's a video that accompanies it as well. And I did have this offering. I might open that back up. I did have the offering for kits in the post as well. So, and I know I've got one ready packed up to go if anybody's interested in that. But I will kind of make that live again on my website. So the Sending Smiles is just such a beautiful set. So those are my 3 colours. Coastal Cabana. I don't think I mentioned that one as well. So that's what we're going to be pulling in. And I really love Shaded Spruce with Coastal Cabana. I just feel those two like really complement each other well. Right, let's get started. Let's do a bit of stamping. I'm going to be using, I haven't got it out, so let's grab it, the Brick and Mortar embossing folder. So this is like the brick wall. And I think to start with, we'll do a little bit of stamping and then we can die cut all together. So because we're using photopolymer, I'm going to use my foam mat and I'm going to use a scrap of grid paper. My brain is not with it this morning. Sophie, my daughter, for those of you that don't know, she's expecting. She'll be 38 weeks tomorrow. She had to have, baby was breech. She knows that she's having a little boy, but they've soon realised that he was breech. So she went in on Friday to have him turned, and they successfully turned him, thank goodness. And she said it wasn't too uncomfortable, but she has a feeling that he may be wriggling back round. So she's had to ring triage this morning just to let them know, because they've asked her to let them know if he turns, because obviously then they may have to schedule in a C-section, which she really didn't want. She's had such smooth sailing with her pregnancy. She just wanted to have a nice natural birth. But you know, it is what it is. Baby's got a mind of his own. So yeah, I think she's just concerned about trying to have a natural birth, just starting with this lovely foliage. She'd like to have a natural birth, but if baby's breech and things go wrong, then, you know, she might have to be dashed off. So she's trying to, you know, think about whether to like schedule in a C-section. I love this foliage as well. Let's pop you up there. I've re-inked my Shaded Spruce, so it is very dark. It will dry out. That is very dark compared to my original. It will dry out, and, you know, as it soaks into the cardstock, it will go slightly paler. I think I need 2 of those. So let's just cut another, stamp another even. And I think that's it for foliage. I do also need a flower pot, and I love it. You can even probably see that. Can you see how there's a difference in colour of the rubber here? And that's just the way it's been etched to make it look kind of 3D. And I did contemplate today whether I would do something Christmassy. Just look at that. I just think that's fabulous how it looks like the shading is there already. The other thing I can see that I don't have is a little skinny strip of white. Here's my little bag of strips. Let's grab a medium-sized one. Yeah, so I've got my retreat coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm uber busy trying to make sure that I'm on top of everything for that, just in case grandchild number 4 comes along, because I will be in demand. I feel like I'm spreading myself thinner and thinner all of the time at the moment, but you know, that's it. That's the way life is, and we'll survive. Hello Jackie, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. You never thought of using matte and grid paper on its own to stamp on as opposed to the stamp rates? Yeah, do you know, I have, if I pull out, this has been stamped on terribly. It's not really, you're not supposed to stamp on it, but just customers have in the past. So this is the pierce mat. This is what we would sell. Obviously it's great if you're piercing holes and stuff, and you can see there's plenty of holes in there, but you've got a real good thickness of rubber. So these are what we actually sell. But when you buy the Stamparatus, you get this mat, and it just fits into my caddy, my tool caddy here nicely. It just slots in, it's not too bulky, so it's just easy to pull in and out. So I do like to use this mat as well, but I will say do look after it, because we used to be able to, I'm just going to have a look in my catalogue, what have I done with it? Oh, I've put it over here ready to take later. You used to be able to buy that mat separately. Let me just find the page. But now I don't think you can. You can buy the deluxe foam mat, which is that number 4 there. So it's a foam mat, but it's got a grid on it already. But I love the mini grid paper. I use that a lot. And the reason that I'm using it on here is that I just find when I'm doing a live, I like to keep my main piece of grid paper quite clean, because when you're stamping all over, I just find it really distracting to the eye. Right, I keep going off on a tangent. I am very good at doing that. Right, the reason I pulled in the Send in Smile stamp set is because of all these fabulous greetings that are on here, and I love that they're all kind of long greetings, so as opposed to like bulky greetings that you would need to like punch out or die cut onto a label or something, I wanted something long, and this set just has a great variety. So I'm going to use the birthday wishes. On my original I've used a thanks one. I'm going to ink it in soft suede and just pop it down onto this little skinny strip. It looks like I've mounted it wonky, but I think it's fine. Okay, so we've just stamped that one down. We'll snip that off and save that other piece for later. So yeah, I think having a good variety of greetings is great, but I seem to make, what I try to do, and I think this is where it comes from, when I'm using a stamp set, so like today my focus really is on the Plentiful plants, I do really like to try and create a card that's used elements just from this stamp set, rather than pulling in 20 different stamp sets, because then people may think that you need all of these stamp sets just to create one card, and that is so kind of not true. I'm going to snip these up because it will be easier for die cutting. But of course, if you are like me, you do have more than 20 stamp sets on your shelf, so you can mix and match stamp sets all the time. But for me, when I'm demonstrating or doing anything, like when I do my 6 card class each month, we focus on one stamp set, maybe 2, to pull in greetings or whatever. And I just think that's, when you're showing people, especially during a live, because you don't know who is popping in. You could have complete beginners popping in, and people may think that you might have to have all of these products on your shelf in order to make this one card, and that is so untrue, because you don't. You'd be surprised if you set yourself a challenge. You set yourself a little challenge to use just one stamp set. I bet you'd be surprised. And then today I'm just using 2 inks as well, so it's surprising what you can do. Right, let us locate what we need. Not that one, that one. So you will have had a flash of this card, I'm sure, last week on my live, but it was a very quick flash. Where's my washi tape? Let's Right, I'm just gently giving that a bend. What's happening with my cut and emboss machine is I think there's too much pressure happening between the rollers, and it's really bending my top plates very quickly. So I'm going to be getting back in touch with Stampin' Up because it's something we've been looking at, because I feel plates on the top shouldn't bend as fast as mine are. I'll show you how bendy it is at the moment, and I do turn it, but it's not very old, this plate. Look how curved it is. So what happens is when you run it through like this, it does curve your dies a little. Just run this through quickly. And then we'll recut that other one as well. Just tore it, but it's fine. We can reuse that piece. A lovely flower pot. So yeah, I just think this stamp and die bundle, the Plentiful Plants, is one that, you know, you're going to pull out on a regular basis. I need that one again, don't I? Yeah, my head's all over the place today. Not very good at focusing at the best of times, but I feel bad that I couldn't be around to help out with a swimming lesson run. And now on my mind is that Sophie's going to be going in. I mean, now baby has been turned. There's every chance that he's okay. And he might be head down by the time she gets in there. But she did only ring for advice. She didn't ring to say, can I please come in and can you check where he is? She's just ringing for advice, and they've advised her just to pop in. Is that all the die cutting? No, it's not. They've advised her just to pop in and see what's going on, because it was like he was sideways across, as if he's trying to wiggle back into position. Definitely, we don't want him feet down, breech. So hopefully he's not wriggling back that way. Right, let's pull back in the window dies. And I'm going to just focus on these two. That's all I want for today. And I've cut a little notch off of there because I had two rectangles of Sahara sand and I didn't want to cut the wrong one. So I quite often do that when I've got pieces cut ready. So I'm going to layer these down in. So this die here, as you can see, makes a lovely frame. And this die here, it literally cuts out these pieces and this. It doesn't cut around the edge. So if I ran that through like that, we would still have a huge border around the edge. So in order to get the border around this piece, you have to cut both of these together. Hope that makes sense. I have explained that before when I've used it. They kind of go together as a pair. I'm going to tape those down and run that through quickly. So, as I pull these off, you will see what I mean. Let's do that gently. This is a fresh piece of washi tape this morning. So we get left with that centerpiece, which we want to keep. Then we get this piece, which we don't need, but I'm going to put it to one side. Have a huge bag of bits and pieces from this die just from this die alone, and then we need to keep that piece as well. And I'm just going to push those out because I don't want those. So let's move those back out of the way. So also in the set you get this long die. Let's just pull it back in. You get this long die here, and that's kind of designed to be like your window ledge. Well, I think that's what it is. I've no idea if that's actually what it is. If anyone else has got a better idea, please let me know. But what I want to do is I've taken a piece of Sahara sand that measures 2 3/8 by 3 3/4. So it's slightly bigger than my frame here. And I'm going to pop this. Let's get the Tombow going. Hopefully it's playing ball today. I just want a couple of teeny weeny dots around the edge. I don't want too much, otherwise it's going to like squidge out everywhere. And then we're just going to pop that down in the middle of this panel as best we can. Just pull it over a bit. That's better. I'm just going to hold flat on there. Good morning, Helen. How are you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. We look a bit skew-iff down there. Let's just encourage it over a bit. Because I haven't put too much Tombow on, it's enough to hold it down, but not too much that I can move it if I need to. And then this piece that came out of the middle, we're going to pop that right back in there. Oh, now I remember what I should have done and I haven't. Never mind. Don't think there's a way around it. We might be able to, yeah. It's because I'm looking at my original and I'm made a decision that I would try and do something different. So what I wanted to do was pop some window sheet, not window sheet, vellum, thank you brain, behind here. So I think I'm just going to trim off a smidge. Let's cut it. Let's make a little marker like that. The problem being I cannot put in individual, because originally I thought, I'll just take this die and I'll just recut all of my pieces from here and I'll stick them in here. But because the vellum is see-through, well, it's pretty translucent, you would see the Tombow through it even when it dries. So let's just try cutting around here. That might work. I should have done this before I stuck that frame down. Let's see if that will work. Now we've still got a bit of Tombow behind there, and you know this glue is like two-way. Don't want it to show through there. And it doesn't make a massive difference, probably not to you on camera, but in reality it just makes it look a little frosted. Okay, so that's stuck down there nicely. And I'm not going to do anything else with that just for a mo, because I need to take my two front layers. So these are going straight down onto my base, and my first layer is 3 3/4 by 5 3. Again, this is in Sahara sand. And then I've taken another layer that's going to sit on top of it. So that will be an ambulance going by. 3 5/8 by 5 1/4. And this is the one that I'm going to run through the brick and mortar. So So I'm going to pop that in. I'm going to line it up to that line. So I'm doing it this way. I'm popping it in this way because I want my bricks to be going that way, but I will run it through my machine that way so that this edge goes into my machine first so that it doesn't cause it any damage. Oh, I don't know if that's stiff today or if my arms are weak. Probably my arms are weak. I'm feeling a bit feeble lately. Right. So all we're going to do, now that may have like shrunk it or stretched it a little, but as long as we've got an even border, which we have, that is totally fine. So it's going to feel like a very short week again, isn't it? Having a day at home yesterday. Right, we just layer those two up and then we're going to put that straight down onto our base. Lovely, this one. They're all lovely. All of our embossing folders are great. And I was saying last week that I feel like I need some new ones to play with. Haven't bought a new one for a little while. And they're just such fun. They just add such a wow to our projects. Right, let's just move that over slightly. So you can maybe see where I'm going with this. So what I'm going to do now is pop down this layer straight onto my card. And I'm going to put it roughly in the middle, slightly higher. The brick wall is making my eyes appear that it's not straight, but I think it'll be okay. And then I've cut a little strip. This is like my doorstep. This was too skinny for me. It's great as a window ledge, but I wanted something to resemble more like a doorstep and something to like ground. This is going to be a front door, something to ground my front door. So I've just cut a real little slither. This was probably in my scraps, 3 1/4 by 1/2 inch. So anything roughly that size. And I'm going to pop some mini dimensionals along the bottom, like that. And we'll have it just below the bottom of the door frame there. Hello, Alfie dog. Come to say hello. And then this here, I'm going to turn into a letterbox. Now, I don't know if you can see, but it's got like little dots on either end. But I'm just going to snip off a piece that would be big enough. And I'm going to save that in case I can make use of it for something else. Is that straight? Looks a bit crooked. And then we'll pop that down just below the centre of, come on Tombo. I don't want too much to come out, but we need a bit. So just below the centre of the door. I think letterboxes can be anywhere on a door nowadays. Sometimes they are very low down at the bottom. We don't have a letterbox. We've got 2 boxes outside the gates. So, Jackie, looking at the thin strip, could you use it to make panels in the doors? Yes, you could. And I did try this, not for this card, but previously I tried using I cut several of these pieces and kind of put another one here and then another one here, but it was just a bit faffy. Just a bit faffy. It'd be good for, you know, if you're making a special card, but for the sake of a live or something, it was just a bit too faffy. That doesn't look straight, but there we go. Right, we need to do some flowers, so let's pull back in that little flower die from the sending dies. So a very useful one, this. What have I got already? I'll do this really quickly. Out of shot. Yeah, having a little flower like this can be super, super handy. You know, when you have those little moments, there's two, and you see me have those little moments where you've got ink on your finger and it gets on your card right when you're at the end of it. Oops, that moved. Then things like this little die are super handy for covering up any little accidents. Right, sometimes they stick in. So yeah, a great one to have. I just cut another couple in sweet sorbet. They both stuck into the die as well. There we go. So we've got a few flowers. Right, I need a bit of bling as well. Let's get my embellishment pot, which is looking rather low at the moment. See what we've got. I don't know why that's in there, but let's take it out. It doesn't belong in there. I think we'll use those. Actually, that is something that's that's right next to it in my pot. Something that's on the weekly deals this week is the vellum. What is it called? Lovely Layers. I'll get that out and show you after. Right, where were we? Would the flower die cut through more than one colour at once? It probably would, Jackie, but what I find, if you try and cut through 2 layers, one will most definitely get stuck and left behind in your die. And then the second one, and it wouldn't really matter on something like this, but the second one would be really etched and it would have all marks on it where there's been so much pressure applied to it. So I never recommending cutting more than one layer with anything. I have done in the past, for example, if I was cutting, just going to grab a shapes set. If I was cutting, say, these in basic white, you could get away with cutting 2 at one time, but as I've said, it does mark the cardstock, and that's generally from, I mean, look at the state of this. I could really do with putting a new one down on the bottom, but I just keep using it. You get this etched marking on your cardstock. So for me, I always stick with 1 layer. The machines were made to cut with 1 layer, I'm sure. So I always feel that that's the best way to use them. Of course, if you are a customer, you will probably have lots of other punches maybe. I know I'm looking at my retired punch storage, and I've got some really cute little flower punches on there, so you know, but I don't use them. I do keep a lot of retired punches, but I never use them because I can't show them to you, because if you want to then get them, I can't sell them to you, so it's pointless. But sometimes, just for certain occasions, it's handy just to have them on your shelf. So do you remember when we had like the little mini punches and you get the little trios? Had some really sweet little flowers. And if that would be something I would ask Stampin' Up for, it would be that, you know, teeny tiny, not teeny tiny, but small flower punches, a bit like this, that are tricky to cut out with a die, but that could be punched out really quickly. Right, I've just popped a couple of dimensionals behind my flower pot. I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow on the bottom just to anchor that. I'm going to place that over to the left of my front door. Put something, a bit of glue on there. While we're talking about glue, I'm just going to wipe the end of my Tombow with a wet wipe, because if it is clean, if the end of your nozzle is clean, then your glue is going to come out a lot clearer, a lot easier. Right, so I'm just using my bone folder to shape my foliage. And then I think this one I've chopped. Quite often we'll chop this one into 2 pieces. Hello Zana, how are you doing? Thank you for joining. You can show what to do, mix and match retired stuff to do similar projects. Yes, so I've always been what you would call a business demonstrator. Okay, so we have lots of hobby demonstrators out there who maybe just purchase the products for themselves, don't really kind of share the products with others to sell. And I just feel it's really awkward. It's a really awkward moment when I start bringing in products that somebody might really want, but you can no longer buy. And sometimes that can just cause a bit of frustration. So I try to avoid not to do that. Of course, if I have brought in something retired, I will make it very, very clear. One product I use a lot, and I'm not concerned to share this, and this is something you may be able to find. I mean, look how much love it's had, the hexagon punch. I use this quite a lot, and basically I use it, in fact I was using it at the weekend to create what I call like a fishtail end, like this. So there are certain products, I'm not frightened to share that. This is retired, by the way. You cannot buy this anymore. I've had it a very long time, but if you searched, you may well find it somewhere. But products like that, I don't mind using. But generally, as a rule, I only use current product. It's in my best interest. I'm a business, you know, my aim is to inspire you all, but also in the hope that I will sell you some product as well. So I'd be stupid to highly show something that isn't currently available. So that's my theory around it. Right, and can I just say, next month, I will have been a demonstrator for 13 years. That is complete madness. Right, I'm just popping. Complete madness. A dimensional behind this one. And I'm going to just slide it in behind my flower pot. Like that. It's hiding my letterbox a little bit, but I'm not worried. And then the other one. Sorry, I always use my right hand. And it gets in the way. That one can go in there, and that one can just slide down in there like that. I feel like I need to go a little bit lower. Just going to pull this one back up. Oh, I don't want the door frame as well. Just turn it that way a bit. I didn't like the big gap that was down there. And there's a bit of washi tape stuck to it maybe. So I've just popped those into the pot. Sana. Yes, of course, there are dies that can do that shape as well. So, you know, but I think it's good, you know, as customers, you accumulate a lot of stuff as well. I know some of you on here are demonstrators, and we do accumulate a lot of stuff. So you do need to use what you've got and find uses for it. And I totally appreciate that. So, right, next. But yeah, there's always, you know, there's always a way around. You know, if you wanted to replicate this, you'd find a way around it. You know, you'd cut yourself just a rectangle door frame. You know, there's a way. It doesn't, you don't have to own every single thing that Stampin' Up bring out. I feel like I'm digging myself into a hole, so I'm going to stop there, because you all know how much I love our product, and I am going to rave about it till the cows come home, because I love it. Don't love all of it, but I love most of it. So I'm just going to pop that other bit of foliage on top of my door. And this is where you can start thinking about how this could be turned kind of Christmassy. Right, the other thing I want to do now is bring in some flowers. So I just want one of each flower. I'm going to put those others to one side. And just give these a little curl. Bring them to life a little bit. So as it is, without these flowers, this could be quite masculine. Once we've got our greeting going on, this could be quite a masculine card. And I seem to be trying to do more for the men lately, because I know it's something you all struggle with, and believe me, I struggle too. You are not alone. Right, now we may get a little stuck here, because obviously in the center of these flowers we have this little hole. So I'm just going to hold these down for a minute and try not to get glue all over my fingers. And we're just going to let them dry before we add any bling to them. Just move you a bit lower. That'll do. And then I'm going to pull in my Sharpie. So this is gold. And my basic pearls. Now this will work with rhinestones. It will work with, what have I got else lying around here? I had some other pearls. Oh, the pastel pearls. Pastel pearls, you could colour these if that's all you've got. Because it's permanent, it will cover over lovely. So make sure you go like all the way around the bottom of it. Give it a good covering, and then just let it dry for a moment. While we just let that dry, we'll pop on our greeting. Now because I'm going to layer up on dimensionals here, which way round are we? I'm going to pop one at that end. Thank you, Kim. Are you enjoying this card? You know, take from it what you can, is what I will say. You know, the whole, I can feel the frog coming. The whole thing about casing, you know, I don't care if you totally copy my card. I mean, I would maybe be a little bit annoyed if you entered it for a competition and won and didn't say that I designed it. That might make me, you know, I am pretty chilled. I'm pretty easygoing, but something like that might just annoy me slightly. So, but yeah, feel free. People ask, you know, can I copy this design? Yeah, of course, you know, but please don't say that it's your own if the need arises. you know, give credit where credit is due, I will say, and I will always do the same. I'm just going to add in, hopefully this Tombow is dried up here, add in some bling. Now this might have looked nice with just plain pearls, but I just like the feel that the bling gives, you know, that little sparkle. The only thing that concerned me was about putting, let's just pull that off, putting on, I think the doorknob just finishes it, and it's at this point I think my letterbox looks like it's not in the middle of the door. That'll do, we'll just leave it there. I'm always one for like not having gold and silver together, and I feel like I've crossed that line on this card, but I felt like that needed to be gold to sort of blend in. It really blends in with the soft suede. So you need to dig your plants out again. Yeah, I just think they're such a fabby set. They're just great. I'll show you my original. Now, something happened on some of my cards. Whether I was carrying them over to the house and they got raindrops on, I don't know, or whether I was doing something here and splashed, I do not know. But a couple of my cards did get splattered on, so I will be redoing. I'll just restamp these elements and this and just pull it off and re-stick it down. So can you see the difference where I have re-inked as well? So yeah, I just think these window dies, there's a lot more than meets the eye. I just think you can do a lot with them. So hence no Christmassy projects today. There is plenty of time for that. I know we're halfway through September and we're heading our way towards the festive months, but there's still plenty of time. There's plenty of time. Right, let's put those to one side and bring in, this one is slightly more, a lot going on. How are we doing for time? Because I have to bear in mind that I have to leave the house in good time for coffee and card, and I still have to pack my bags. I've got a couple of things put to one side, but you know what it's like when you're working. You make a pile of stuff that you're taking and then you borrow something out of it. So I need to make sure that I've put back everything that I've borrowed. Okay, so another card base this time, but this time in Sahara Sand. So we're going to have a different look to our card. We have a front layer of 3 3/4 by 5 3. I'm going to run that one through. No, I'm not yet. I am going to be running that one through the embossing folder. Then I've got a piece here for some die cutting. Let's do some die cutting first and then all will become clear. This is the problem of having a very dirty etched plate. Bits stick into it. Not good. Right, to start with, I'm going to take this top layer. I'm going to pull in my window dies and I'm just going to cut myself. I'm going to have that one ready. I'm going to cut myself a frame. Now, there was something I wanted to do with this. I'm looking for a scrap of paper. That will be big enough. No. How annoying. I threw a load of scraps into the bin. I tore them up. Let's have a look. I've usually got one over here. So I find, because my plates get a bit dirty, when you're die cutting with just basic white, it really marks the layer. Right, so I'm just centralising that. I'm going to stick it down so it doesn't move. I'm hoping I'm doing this right because I did this a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to put this piece of paper over the top to protect that layer from this top plate, and I'm going to run that through. And by adding in that piece, it just helps to keep this layer nice and clean. Let's just pull that off. Uh-oh, I don't need that middle bit. This washi tape is not the best. I don't need that middle bit, so I'm not too worried. I say it's not the best. It's obviously good washi tape because it's very sticky, but it just sticks so well. So I've also got this frame in here, which I do not need. Can you see how I was talking earlier? How it like etches things. That's what it would look like if you die cut 2 layers. Now I've got another scrap here. I want to do another set. Let's just give those a little curve back. Let's just reuse that bit. And I'll just run that through again. So, see if we can get this off without tearing it. I don't need the centerpiece, but gently does it. So again, we've got another frame, which I need. I do not need that piece, but I'm keeping these with all of my spare pieces so that I can make a window set if I need to. Let's push out those, pop those back. And then what I need to do, let's pull that in, is I want to run this layer through here. Now the reason I didn't emboss it first is because you should always cut before you emboss. Otherwise, if you emboss, if I'd have embossed it first and then cut that aperture, it would have squashed my embossing. So always emboss after cutting. Something that you learn very fast, the little things like this. Pull that out. So now we have this nicely brick wall embossed frame. Next, what I want to do is pop these back inside here, like this, okay? See, he's definitely shaking his head. So what I want to do is secure those in place. So I'm going to turn it back to front. Turn these back to front, and this is where you need some double-sided tape or some tearing tape, which I actually don't have any left. So I'm going to use this nasty red tape that's very sticky with a really static backing to it, but it's going to help me out today. And I just want to stick these layers together. So I'm just making sure that that inner frame, the outer frame, are both stuck to the white layer. I need to remember to add some tear and tape to my order. I am doing an order later if there are any customers watching. If there's anything you need, just get in touch, okay? So that we end up with a frame like that. And then to reinforce these pieces, I'm going to pop dimensionals on the join, just randomly around where that inner frame is touching the outer frame. and then randomly around the outside. You could go crazy and use a whole sheet on this if you wanted to. I do try and be quite conservative with where I put them. Right, now I do want to put just a couple that are holding the frame, the wider frame to the white base. So I'm kind of like just, oh gosh, I'm not using any more. That is way enough. So that we've now got this piece that is sticking together, okay? If you could think of a better way of doing that, please tell me. Oh dear. You know when you've got an idea in your head and then you're like, right, how am I going to make that work? This wants to go on here, but I want a background, white background behind it. So what I'm going to do, let's just stick this down on here first. So this layer is just slightly smaller than that original size. So if I just pop that down in the middle, it's not going to be seen on any outer pieces. It measures 3 1/4 by 5 inches, just if anyone is not good at deciding on their measurements. Now it's going to take me all day. No, it's not, because the backs come off of our dimensionals so easily. Even if you don't really have much of a nail, they just come off super easily. And if you struggle, you can always use your scissors, or you take your pick tool to pull them off. And then what we're going to do, have we got them all off? I think we have. Is just lay that down onto our card base like that. So you can see we've got now a gap here, and I just wanted that look, like to have a bit of a shadow. Hello Belinda, how are you doing? Thank you for stopping by all the way from Washington. It's lovely to have you join us. Right, I've got some bits and pieces. I've got some pieces that I've stamped earlier because I didn't want to be on here for too long. I've got a scrap here of white and a scrap of Sahara sand. I just need to cut some elements. I hope this one's wide enough, from the plants dies. And I wanted to use this lovely macrame plant hanger, and I want a couple of these as well. So if you've purchased my 6 cards in the class for last month, these 2 are part of your kits. So this week I'm recycling my ideas because time has been against me and I don't seem to have had that much time here spare. Been busy for retreats. Right, I'm going to try and I'm not going to take them down. I'm just going to run those through and hope that they don't move. These little plant pots are just the cutest. The detail in them, although they do leave lots of dots behind. Just poke that one out. So I always recommend that you get rid of these because they will kind of engrain on anything that goes on top of them. Just pop these dies away. How beautifully it cuts. Yeah, always get rid of those pieces. So we've got that lovely plant hanger. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Belinda. That is good to hear. And then we need, cut myself a little bit of foliage as well. That's another die in this set. Look at the detail, how it actually cuts lines into it as well. I need another little flower pot. Let's pull in my mat. I think on my original I did this one in Sahara Sand, but I'm sticking with my 2 ink colours. Just chop that off. Leave that there. I'm just going to cut that one really quickly. Line it in. And then it's going to sit behind that macrame hanging planter. And we do have to chop it a little bit. Just to make it fit. And there are other stamps that work behind there. Oh, while we've got this out, let's do our greeting. I'm tempted to do the same again. So I'm just going to ink up the birthday wishes with the soft suede. I've got my phone. When I go live, I have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, because if the postman comes and he rings the intercom, then it rings my phone. So I always put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So, and I've said to Sophie, if there's any emergency, just keep ringing, and it will like override the Do Not Disturb. So I've just snipped up the birthday wishes. I think we can start building. Right, it's at this point I'm just going to move these 2 ink pads out of the way and check that there's none on the fingers. I'm going to give them a quick wipe just to make sure. So what we're going to do to start with is just add these 2 together. And if I hold it over, can you see, just get like a bit of overhang. So I just do a little bit of snipping. There's a bit of glue on the bottom of there. So all I'm going to do is just put Tombow in a couple of places on here. Not too much. Just a little bit, just to hold it. And then we'll pop that straight down over. So can you see we just get a little bit of overage, and that's mostly from the die cutting. I just like to trim that off. And then I want to build this up with did a bit of stamping and die cutting ready. But I love this, so I haven't stamped with this one today, but I love this. Is it called Mother of Pearl? String of Pearls? It's Mother's Tongue, isn't it? Or Mother-in-law's Tongue. String of Pearls, maybe something like that it's called, as an actual plant. Right, let's try and get this somewhere inside. Just faff with it for a minute. That will do nicely. Like that. I'm not even going to put glue on there. What I will do is hold that down with some dimensionals. Let's put a couple on there to start with. Yeah, you quite often see this, like, cascading out of hanging baskets and things. So, Belle, you're back home to a pigeon flat out on the patio and distraught Liv. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, hope you get that sorted. Poor thing. We seem to, I think I'm like the bird whisperer around here, because me and birds, I'm always having encounters with birds coming into the studio. Birds that they fly into, because there's so much glass in the barn, they just fly into the window, which is so sad. Don't think I need both of those, I just need part of one. Yeah, I seem to be always having encounters with birds. In fact, here it's anything. It's birds, it's ducks, it's moorhens, it's frogs, anything. And I guess that's partly, you know, we're surrounded by fields, so. Right, next I want to layer up this. I need glue on that side. I was going to put it on the reverse then. This foliage, and I just want it to pop right behind here, just so it's like popping out like that. Gives my planter a bit of height as well. Now that we've got that on, we'll pop another dimensional just at the top, and then we'll pop that in place. I love how you can layer up this foliage. And foliage like this one, and this one, they're really great for making like little wreaths and things as well. So we're going to pop this one just over. Oh, I need to double layer that dimensional there. It needs to be double height. And that's because we have one layer of dimensionals here. And because this side is going to sit down on that base layer, can you see I've just got two on this side here. Otherwise it's going to be a bit lopsided. So somewhere, let's get it straight, otherwise it'll look funny. About like that. Then I thought, what could we have behind this window? What could we have inside? Because this is like the inside of the house maybe, and this is the hanging basket outside, the planter. So I thought, what about a table? So I took another strip of soft suede, and this is just randomly from my scrap basket. It does measure 3/8 of an inch, and I want it to like pop out about there. So I'm going to snip off the edge. Right, there's nothing in its way, but I also want to add a little leg. So I'm going to cut another slither to be like the leg of my table. And I think the easiest way to adhere this without getting Tombow everywhere would be to just pop a glue dot on the back like that, and then pick up the leg. That's a bit long. Let's do it in my hand, it might be easier. Maybe not. Trying to get it in the right place, otherwise it won't look like a table leg. That'll do, let's go with that. And then, she says, sticking it to her grid paper, stay still. We can straighten that when it's down. We're just going to add a bit of Tombow on the back. Don't really like doing faffy things like this for you, but I just thought it was quite a cute effect. Have it lower down. I'm going to chop a little bit off the end. I think it's too long. There's a dimensional in the way. Just lay it down there. Make sure that is straight. And there we've got a little table. I think a bit of Tombow's coming out there. And then on here, we're just going to pop our two little plant pots. That one can slide right under. So we'll put that one in first. one back. Is there room? No. See that? I don't like the faff. And then this one next to it. Cards should be straightforward most of the time. It's got to go in a bit more. There. That will do nicely. But of course there are those cards sometimes that just take a little bit more effort. Maybe they're for someone very special. Oops. Dimensional has stuck to me. I'm going to pop a little dimensional behind there. And just wedge it under. I'm going to chop a bit of the bottom off. The reason being, I don't want to see that bit of green through the holes. So we'll just have a bit of foliage coming out of that pot. This one, I'm going to chop off the very end part. And I think that's where I had washi tape. And it's like pulled some of the image off. So I'm just going to chop off the end, save that for something else. And I might put that on a dimensional too, just because I can. We've got so much height going on this card with 2 layers. Let's just make it all pop. Wedge that under. Need the other hand. I need it to wedge under the pot, like that. So we've got some plants in a pot on the table. And then just to finish, we want to add in some more flowers. Oops. I hope I haven't lost you all. Are you still with me? What are we doing for time? Oh gosh, need to get a wriggle on. Okay, so for my birthday wishes, again, I want to hover it over this side. So I'm going to need 1 layer of height on the very left side. These strips are just wide enough to take a mini dimensional. Pop a little bit of Tombow on the opposite end. And we'll pop 1 there. And then we'll have wishes hanging over the edge of the frame. Like that. Make sure they're straight. Hold them down for a mo. And then we'll finish off with these flowers. This is a wow card, Kim. Thank you so much. It's a bit of a faff, isn't it? It's not for the faint-hearted. Definitely not. But sometimes, as I've said, there are some special people. Those who appreciate a card that's made with love, that would probably love this. I'm just going to add 3 little dots of glue. That one stuck to me. Just to bring in a bit of colour. Just hold those down for a minute, let them dry. Give the Tombow a few minutes to adhere. And I was thinking of a bow up here, but I just don't know if that is a bit too much. I will anchor that down though. Just put a little bit of Tombow behind the hook. Just hold that for a minute. Bring back in some bling. It's still kind of quite white, isn't it? But I do like that. You know that I like that. Let's get rid of some tools. Still on my same piece of putty, by the way. How many weeks later? Got some wet glue here, so it could be tricky to stick these down. Oop. Sliding all over the place now. Okay. And there we go. Oh, where are you going? I told you to stay there. You could be very genius maybe, and behind this layer have some kind of like wallpapery background, but you know, we don't want overkill, do we? We need it to be, you know, there is quite a lot going on here. I think I need to just add a bit of Tombow behind that table leg. Because I feel it's moving around a bit. That's it, let's just anchor it in place. And then it can't go anywhere. So I'll bring in my original. They're pretty much the same. Table is slightly smaller. So there we go. So more uses of those fabulous window dies. If you do not have them yet, I would highly, highly recommend that you get them. Where are my stamps? So the window wishes. I know you've seen me do a lot with these, so they are, Jackie, you're right, they are quite clean and fresh, and I do like that about them. So window wishes is £21, but if you buy it with the dies, it's £47.50. So highly, highly recommend this. I don't know if I showed you this one last week. This was another one of my 6 cards. But again, along the same theory of using the door. And I did put in the pool party there for like as if you were looking through glass, but use the lovely wintry embossing folder. So love the window dies. They're super, super useful. Hope you've enjoyed my projects this morning. You know, do with them what you can. Do them with them what you can and recreate. I'd love to see what how you recreate some of my projects. It's always interesting to know because we've all got different you know, ways of doing things, haven't we? And we're all so different. We've all got different taste and different styles. So imagine this in different colours. But I think all this, without the flowers maybe, would make really good man cards because we've got that Sahara sand base. So Belle, you've really made me want those dies, bless you. I was considering doing one of these for our team gathering. Maybe this one because it's not quite so faffy, just so that you've got some samples of your own. But yeah, love those dies. I probably will still continue to try and do other things with them, but I feel that I need to kind of step away from them, move on to something else. So in fact, next month, my 6 cards we're using, the Peaceful Deer, just here on my desk. I'm using a couple of annual catalogue Christmas set, so I'm getting ahead of the game. It's because I know there's another baby coming and I know that I'm going to be spreading myself very thin, so I've just got one more card to design for next month's 6 card class. So yeah, I'm getting ahead as well as trying to do retreat stuff as well. So thank you, Jackie, that's so sweet of you. Yeah, I'm just hoping, I just want him to come early. He's actually due on the 5th of October. My retreat weekend is the 7th to the 9th, so I am just praying that he comes early so that I know he's here safe and sound. Sophie wants me to be there for the birth, so I'm going to do my utmost best to make sure that I am. So that's why everything is kind of going into place beforehand. So anyway, yeah, 2 great, Plentiful plants, 1 great set in itself, but teaming it with that lovely window set, the possibilities are just Just endless. Right, weekly deals. I was going to show you quickly what is current. So this week's, well, it is still this week's weekly deals because they're on until, they will change on Thursday. So we've got the pearlized enamel effects. We've got some lovely striped ribbon and some metallic edge ribbon. We've got the masking paper, which I haven't used yet. The lovely perfectly penciled DSP, which is great, £9 for a whole pack of paper. Then the lovely layers vellum, which I have here. I have used this before, but not a lot. I've got a lot left. I need to maybe leave this out on my desk. I'm just getting it out of the packet. So you've got these lovely layers of vellum. Oh, recycling men are here. It's okay, Alfie. Recycling men have arrived. Yeah, you've got these lovely, gorgeous layers, and then you get a whole load of plain vellum. Shush you. So Alfie doesn't bark very often, but if he gets startled by something, he will bark. Bless him. And then we've got the lovely faux sea glass shapes, which my printing hasn't shown that very well. Some 12 by 12 vellum, the lovely Eden dies, which are fabulous. I absolutely adore these boxes. I've used these quite a lot. They're great for just packaging up some quick treats. And then we've got the Evening Evergreen weave ribbon, which is lovely. I've got some of that here, I believe, or I might have used the last of it. But yeah, you've got some packaging, some ribbons and some papers. Grab yourself some deals and you could whip up some easy packaging for your gifts. And then just one final reminder about the card making event for World Card Making Day on the 1st of October. So obviously you've got your 3 bundles that we are using, but now Stampin' Up have given us, if I can find it, a list of all the measurements of the 3 cards that we're going to be creating. So you can go on to the website, print that off ready, cut all of your card bases and pieces ready to make your cards. So, and of course, if you don't have any of these, you can order them in advance. Don't leave it too long now though, because of shipping. And if you order any of those, you will get a free pack of iridescent pearls. So, but of course you could use anything that you've got. And then just a quick reminder of the Perfect Partners promotion that's running. It's for the whole of the month. We've got these extra new die sets that have become available for stamp sets in the annual catalogue. So, right, I need to grab a coffee, tidy up quickly, pack my bags and then get going. So I will bid you farewell. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It was nice to be back at my regular time slot. As I've said, I can't guarantee next week I will be here at the same time. I need to just check when Vivi's at school. So who knows at the moment? I'm really not sure of that time schedule, but thank you for stopping by. Please take care, everybody, and I will see you all very soon. So bye for now.